And welcome folks, welcome to a new Let's Play. I'm Supersonic SJM, and this is...
Crash Bandicoot 2. Cortex Strikes Back.
So without any further ado...
Start to begin.
Let's do what the man says.
Crystals. Of course.
But Dr. Cortex, to reach full power, we need not only your master crystal, but also the remaining 25 slave crystals from the surface. How do you expect to retrieve them when we don't have any Earthbound operatives left?
You fool! Do you think I'm unaware of the situation? If we don't have any friends left on the surface, then we need to find an enemy.
Crash? Crash? Crash! My battery is fried. Make yourself useful, big brother, and bring an extra battery for me.
Okay, so a very quick introduction there. So, what we've basically learned is directly after the events of Crash 1, if you've watched my previous Let's Play, you should have a good idea what happened there. If not, go give that a watch, and that'll bring you up to speed. So Cortex is defeated and sent flying down from the blimp, and ultimately finds a cave with a crystal, and hence starts his new plan. But what is that new plan? All we know is he's looking for crystals, but Crash at the moment is completely unaware of what is required of him. So, without further ado, let's go see what he wants.
Well, well, well. If it isn't Crash Bandicoot, welcome. I apologize for the crude means used to bring you here, but I rather expect a written invitation would have been turned down. I need your help. Surrounding you are a series of 5 doors. Through each door lies a well-hidden crystal. The crystals look like this. Bring me the crystals, Crash. That is all I will say for now. We will speak again.
Simple enough. So, we've got to get some crystals. So without further ado, we're going to go straight into level 1, Turtle Woods. Now, this game is somewhat easier than its predecessor. And the reason for that is, if you remember in Crash 1, if we wanted any gems, we had to make it through the level in 1 life. This now isn't the case, unless it requires going on a hard path. So, theoretically, there should be less of me having to cut and redo bits. I should be able to do it more in one continuous run. So it should be a little easier for me. I've noticed I've kind of screwed up already because I've been getting boxes. I didn't want to do that just yet, but that's fine. It just means we're going to play through this level twice. And you'll see why when we do the second playthrough. But fear not. We will be doing this 100% again. And again, it should take less time this time because this game is somewhat easier than its predecessor, so it shouldn't be that difficult to do. Okay. Now, one of the things you'll have noticed already is Crash has some new moves compared to the first game. So before, you could only jump or you could spin. and obviously your standard run. One thing you will have probably seen him do a couple of times is do the belly flop, which is that, which has its uses that I'll show you later. The other move he's got, you can crouch, or while running, crouch to skid. And if you jump when you skid, you gain a bit of extra height. Same with crouching. If you crouch, jump, bit extra height. Now you'll notice on the floor down there, there are some strange green boxes that are bubbling about. Don't touch them. Under no circumstances touch them, unless of course you're invincible. I think I've messed this up. I have indeed. So I'm going to take this opportunity to just kill myself. So this is the brilliant thing now. I don't have to worry about having done that, because this isn't going to affect me getting the gem I'm wanting. And luckily it wasn't that far back since I got a checkpoint as well, so you're not going to miss much. That was a little close, I thought it was going to fall then. Right, we'll try that again, shall we? So hopefully this time... So just be quick off the mark, and there we go. Whoa, don't you dare me yet, mate. I'm not ready. There we go. Right, that's better. So now that we've got those boxes... So, first mistake of the game, and that meant an intentional death, but I'm sure we can recover from that quite easily. Now... You'll see here we've got a green switch box. We do still have the standard grey switch boxes, but the green ones are important because they detonate the green nitro boxes that we saw earlier. And we're back to the main level. Now this game is, from a technical standpoint, really impressive. So the first Crash game, I covered a lot of reasons as to why it was technically brilliant. So they really optimised how everything was put on the disc to ensure they could squeeze the most out of the PlayStation, to the point where Sony executives were actually quite worried with what they were doing because they thought it would kill the disc drive. The disc drive was only rated for reading so many times off the disc, and the entirety of Crash Bandicoot exceeded that number of reads. It was incredible, and they literally manipulated every little bit to ensure that everything that the game did was read in such a manner that it was loaded into RAM properly and not a single bit was wasted. They tweaked it insanely well to make sure everything ran perfectly. So a game like that, you would sit there and think, well, there's very little they could do with it from there. And yet, here we are with Crash 2, and somehow they managed to add more to what was already in Crash 1. On top of that, if you watch as I play through the game, one thing you'll notice is that you never ever see a loading screen. Now, let's see if we can skip this. Yeah! You'll never see a loading screen in this game, ever. Now, that's not to say it doesn't load, because it does, but load times are that quick, and it pulls the data that quickly, that it's almost indistinguishable. And for a CD game, that is incredibly impressive. Incredibly impressive. So, not only did they make a technical marvel with Crash 1, but they somehow managed to best it with Crash 2, and that is phenomenal. It is absolutely amazing. The guys at Naughty Dog really worked hard on this, and they've come out with something that is absolutely special. So, first crystal, first gem. Let's see what Cortex thinks to that.
Well done, Crash. I knew I could rely on you. Now listen carefully. These holograms are hard to maintain. During the course of my intellectual pursuits, I have stumbled across a force that threatens to destroy the world. Crystals are the only means of containing it. The fate of the world is at stake. It is imperative, therefore, that you bring them to me.
There, Crash? Crash! Crash! Are you there? Are you there, Crash?
Interesting. Coco's trying to get a hold of us. Okay, instead of moving on to level 2, Snowgo, we're going to quickly run back into level 1 to get that blue gem. So, another key thing with Crash 2 here is it's easy to tell what we need in which level. Or rather, what we have to get from each level. I've just done that wrong. Where can I die? Where can I die? Where can I die? Is there a pit? I can get to a pit without a checkpoint. Yes, I can. Right. Intentional death number 2. Swimmingly well so far. So let's try that again, shall we? Okay. So yeah, you can see exactly what there is in each level. It's not a case of every level has one gem anymore. It's a case of every level has one crystal, and some levels may have more than one gem. However, I do think this game has fewer levels than the original Crash, so it's got to squeeze 42 gems into, I think it's a total of 28 levels, I want to say. I think it's 28. So, there are times where levels have to double up to ensure that we've got all the gems in there. So that's going to be a lot of gems, but sometimes, depending on which level it is, you can potentially get both gems in one run. I messed that up. You can get both gems in one run. I could have done in this level, sort of, if I'd have got the blue gem first, and then killed myself and gone back to get the crystal and the clear gem. Didn't do that because that would have been clever, but never mind. Instead, I've had to go back through again and get the blue gem. And as you will see now, so it's there, you have to get through the level without getting a single box. So if you do that, you've got your blue gem. Nice and easy. I'm going to skip his little dance.
So, you were helping Cortex gather crystals, yet you have acquired a gem. Interesting. Well, Crash, know this. As long as you are allied with Cortex, you are my sworn enemy, and I will do anything in my power to stop you. If the fate of the world is truly your concern, you must gather the gems, not the crystals. If you obtain all 42 gems, I can use them to focus a laser beam that will destroy Cortex and the space station he's created. Until then, I must use my forces to stop you from gathering crystals.
Okay. So we've got Cortex asking us to get crystals, and now we've got Brio no longer working with Cortex and asking us to get gems. Seems to be quite a conflict here. We'll move on. So, I haven't really covered this. We've literally just dove straight into levels, but you'll now notice that the way we go into levels is different from Crash 1. We don't have a map with a string of levels that progress one after the other. We are in a room with several doorways and a load save screen. Now the load save screen is really handy because that means that we don't have to do a bonus level to save, we can do it at any time. You'll notice that the bonus levels now increase our box counts and our Wumpa Fruit and our lives, but it also means that to an extent we can do these levels in any order we see fit. I'm going to do them in the standard order though, because why not? But we now have a degree of control. over how we play the game. Moving on though, we'll dive straight into Snow Go. Now unfortunately we're not going to get the red gem this time around. There is a way of doing it, but I unfortunately can't pull it off. So we are going to have to come back and get the red gem. Just wait for it to explode. Cool. Now, ice levels are completely new to the Crash Bandicoot series with Crash 2. So this is the first time that we see them in the series, and it's probably not the worst game in the world for ice levels. They are somewhat annoying, particularly with its ice physics like this. But they're not aggravating. However, they do provide some challenging moments later, which you will see later on. So, look forward to that, because that's going to involve a lot of retries. Anywho, we'll just quickly clear up these boxes. And it's gone. So, Crash 2, I'm going to admit now, is possibly my favourite of the three Crashes. Most people will normally say that the favourite is the one that they played first, which in my case isn't actually true. The one I played first was, in actuality, Crash 1. Because my cousin had a PS1 and he played that before Crash 2 was released, I think. Because I do remember Crash 2 and Crash 3 being released. I think it was just before Crash 2 had come out. So, obviously fell in love with Crash 1. And then, as I say, I played Crash 2 and it improves on everything Crash 1 did in every way. It's still challenging without being completely dickish like Crash 1 was. And it makes for a much nicer experience, I think. Having said that, most people I know say their favourite is Crash 3. I would disagree with them. As much as I love Crash 3 and I think it's great, I like the whole jungle setting that the first two games had, and I think that Crash 2, because of all the benefits of it being a better game in general from a technical standpoint, makes it better than Crash 3 as well, because as much as the time travel aspect's fun, it just... And this is to say I don't like Crash 3, it was quite the departure. It's still fun, I still enjoy Crash 3, but I find this one better. I realise I'm talking about it having a jungle setting, but we're in a nice level. Yeah. Having said that, and I only found this out recently, Crash 2 is still set on the Wumpa Islands. We're actually atop one of the mountains on the Wumpa Islands in this level, which, if you remember the map on Crash 1, none of them looked icy on top, so that seriously confused me when I found out. But there is a map that you can find. If you Google search it, there is a map that indicates where each level is located in Crash 2. And aside from the 5th warp world, every level is located on the Wumpa Islands, more or less. I think maybe a couple of levels in the 5th world. Oh no, maybe one level on the 5th warp world is still located on the Wumpa Islands. Aside from that, every level in Warp World 5 is an undisclosed location that I'm not going to reveal for now. Every other level is somewhere on the Wumpa Islands. Which again, I didn't know. A lot of the styles for some of them, yes, the jungle settings do appear to be similar to Crash 1, but then, like I say, you've got Snow Go, which is a radical departure from what came before it, and that's apparently still located on those islands. And I'm waffling on. I'm going to let you watch this cutscene. Or not. I thought there was a cutscene. Never mind. So, 3 levels left in this warp room. We've got one more that's got 2 gems. So we're going to go to Hang 8. Now we should be able to get both gems in this level in one go. So that is going to be the aim. I do need to get to a certain point without losing a life though. So again, we are in the jungle settings. More similar to Up the Creek, but I'd say this has got that, it's less of that peaceful kind of setting that that level had. It's more action packed. Ooh. Okay. We might have to replay this level to get the other gem, but that's fine. I'll get the box gem this time round, and we'll come back and get the other gem, which I'm sure you can probably work out based on what's on screen how you acquire. Get lost. Okay. So you'll notice this bonus round as well is kind of similar to how Torna's bonus rounds looked. Speaking of, you'll find that she's not in this game at all. She's been replaced by Crash's sister, Coco. Now the reason plot-wise for that is apparently somewhere between Crash 1 and Crash 2, Torna dumped Crash. I can't remember off the top of my head why, but there will be something somewhere that'll probably go into a bit more detail, but I think Torna dumped Crash and hence we never hear from Torna again, apart from maybe in Crash Team Racing and Crash Boom Bang, but no one played Crash Boom Bang. From a real world standpoint, I think Universal put their foot down and said that they couldn't, or Naughty Dog couldn't have Torna again in the future Crash games. So, unfortunately, she was cut and ultimately replaced with Coco, who, as the series goes on, has more of an active presence in the game. So, in this game, she serves to kind of aid Crash and ensure that he ultimately defeats Cortex. In Crash 3, she becomes somewhat playable, and ultimately you get in Crash Insane that she is fully playable. There's, barring a few levels, there's no level really that you can't play as Coco on, whether that's on foot or on the various different vehicles and whatnot that she uses in Crash 3. So she's ultimately, I would say, as capable of saving the world as Crash is. Now, can we grab these? Helps if I actually speed up the... Come on, come on. Yeah, speed up it. Oh, come on. This thing is a nightmare to steer, especially when you're using a D-pad. I do need to swap this time. I'll make sure I'll do that for the next video. Come on, there we go. And detonate the nitros. And those piranha plants will forever just stare at us. So, if I'd have died before that point, that path would probably not have materialised and I wouldn't have been able to get the box gem for this level. Having gotten to that point in one life, that has caused it to spawn, meaning that I can get the remainder of the boxes, meaning that I can ultimately get a gem for this level. Okey-doke. Oh! Not just yet, buddy. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. I hate this surfboard. There we go. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll do. And we are through. And there's the gem. Okie doke. So we are going to pop back in because there is a second gem to get in this level. And I thought it was through the gem path. It's not. And you'll see how we do it shortly. But for now, we are going to watch... I think there's another cutscene now.
Crystals. Not bad. I see you are getting the hang of it. I need to conserve power. I will communicate with you again after you retrieve the 5th crystal.
Okay, so there's no more after this point until we get the 5th crystal. We're going to dive right back in though. Going to quickly grab ourselves that other gem. Okay, off we go. Now, you'll see there, I'm skidding and then spinning. And the reason for that is, there is a exploit in Crash 2 wherein, if you skid and then spin, you actually move a lot faster than the standard run animation. So that becomes really handy when you need to burn through at high speed. Come on. There we go. Okay. Let's hope that timer comes up again. Let's hope I don't mess that up again. Try that again, shall we? There we go. Okay. Thanking you. There it is, right. And already we're a little faster here, so that's worked to our advantage. A little faster there as well. Cool, cool. And just got to zip through this last bit. I really don't care about the boxes at this moment in time. No, 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 no. Oh, that could be a problem. Really don't care about that right now. Oh! Okay. So you can see there, we just narrowly missed it. So I'm going to kill myself to trigger it again. Normally I'm not this bad. He says as he dies again. Right. There we go. Cool. Right. Full minute. We can rock this. Come on. Really don't care right now. No, come on. There we go. Come on. Whoa, that was close. And I screwed that up. I am not doing too well here, am I? Okay. Don't you dare. Come on, there we go. Right. I'm determined to do this. Okay. I don't know why I'm jumping. I should be spinning. No. Thank you. Don't care. Cool. Come on, get through. Yep. There we go. Right. Speed through the second bit. Hopefully in record time. Just aim at that. There we go. Okay. So we've got a little bit more time. And it's ours. And we're out of there. There we go, our next gem. So that's now 5, I think? 5 gems? Yes, because it should be 6 so far. We're missing 1, so it's 5. 5 gems, 3 crystals. So now we're going to head into the pits. Now then, this level has a fork, similar to how Insanity Beach did. Not many levels have them in this game. There are a few. Most of them are due to gem paths, or death paths as they're known in this level, or in this game even. But this one is just a fork that you can take whether you've got a gem or not. We are going to have to go down both routes to get the gem, but we're not going to have the worryingly difficult gap to cross like in Insanity Beach. It is going to be a case of we can take one path and we should get through with relative ease. And he's gone. Okay. So far so good, and we should get invincibility in just a second, which should be really nice. Here we go. So we're going to go down the right-hand route first, because I can't off the top of my head remember which one is more difficult. However, we are going to have to be very careful when we come back, because it doesn't matter which way you go, there are going to be pits on both routes. Whereas Crash 1 was a bit nicer in that only one of the routes had a pit. So you could walk back without having to panic that you were going to fall down a pit. Thanks for that, game. Didn't even touch him. Okay, so we need an exclamation point box somewhere. Come on. Thank you. Right, so we're at the end of the route now, so carefully come back now. So we've got rid of most of the hazards, we've just got to be very, very careful of hits and not falling down them. So, checkpoint. Oh, that was close. That wasn't. Just make sure we get all the way to the end again. Clear the... Oh, try again. There we go. And they're gone. Right. So we only really need to go... We'll take out the bird as well, because we're clearly going to have to come back down here anyway. So we'll take him out. So if I remember correctly, the exclamation point box, or switch even, is down the other path, so we're probably going to have to come back down that way anyway. Luckily there's no pits up till that point, so it should be fairly safe for us to come back down that way. There we go. Alright, so now we're going to go down the other route. So you can see straight away, both routes have pits, so either way we would have had to very carefully tread back the way we came. But it's much easier, particularly when the other route has hazards like that, to just go forward through it and then you can see what's coming. Okay, there we go. There's the switch. So I think that activates the two boxes on the other route. So we will have to go back the other way just a little bit. And there's the crystal. Now there is a little cutscene that I haven't shown, and I don't really plan on doing it because it's just time to take up that's not really worth taking up, and that's Cortex. Oh, there was a pin. I was wrong, never mind. Cortex will get mad if you don't get the crystals, and if you repeatedly do it, he gets more enraged until eventually he just stops talking to you. That is only temporary though, until you start progressing through the game as normal again, at which point the cutscenes start coming up as normal, but he can get mad if you do leave the crystal. And this level is probably a prime one where if you were just playing normally and weren't going through for a gem, you potentially could have got those cutscenes. Okay, right. So, this bonus round is showing us our second new box of the game. So we've had the nitro boxes, we've now got reinforced crates. They are destructible, and the way you would do it is like so. They just require a belly flop, and they will break. Now, we've got some boxes that we can't quite get at. This is where the skid and the crouch comes in. Skid through the boxes, and if you keep hold of crouch, you can then crouch through like that. Now we are going to have to come back up this way because we've got some wireframe boxes there that we still want. So the easiest thing to do, come through, and then if we skid over, and we can completely avoid those boxes like that. Now then. Belly flops do go through more than one box, so don't worry about if there's another layer of boxes or there's more than one reinforced box. It will just continue going until you hit the ground, or an indestructible box. Now we've got to try and bounce back up. Unfortunately, we're not going to get the wumper through that this leaves behind, so... Oh. Okay, so there's one that's left behind. We'll get that on the way back. Yeah, we're not going to be able to get those wumper fruit because unfortunately it will lead to our demise, but we can do that. And we're out of there. Now another thing you'll notice as well that I haven't covered is the HUD now gives us a display of how many boxes we've got in the level, which is better than Crash 1, but still not the best when it comes to knowing how many we need to complete the level. Granted, that goes to Crash 3, which does actually give us an actual this many out of this many boxes, so... But it's a start, because at least we've got a good idea of how many we've got, and if we do know how many we need to get beforehand, then we can kind of work out if we're missing any or not. Okay, so we're nearly done with this workroom now, not including any gems that we're missing. So we've got one more level left, and then we get our first boss. So we're going to head into Crash Dash, which is the final level of this warp world. Or warp room, rather. And then we'll do the boss, and then we'll call it an episode. So this one is it's a running toward the screen level. And I'm sure you can all work out what that means. Boulders. So... it's more or less a similar fare to what was in Crash 1, however, some new mechanics. So you'll notice those things on the floor that had the kind of glowing rings on them. Those are mines. Do be careful, because hitting them does cause you not to die, but they will slow you down because they do bounce you up and then you've got to recover a little bit from that. Electric fences, so unlike the last game, if we hit a fence, it would just knock it down and slow us down. These actually kill us, so you've now got to be somewhat more cautious when running through this level. Okay, we'll start running again. There is one other new mechanic, which we haven't seen yet, and I believe this level has them. Just keeping an eye out for it. Does it have it? You'll notice there as well, by the way, we didn't have destructible bridges in the last game. So they're not necessarily, boulders aren't necessarily stopped now by hitting the next platform where the subsequent one is held. They can also fall down pits if there's a long enough wooden bridge. Okay. The good thing with that is that kind of breaks up the gameplay a little bit, because that means that there's moments now where we can rest a little bit and not have to worry about being chased by more boulders, so it gives the player the opportunity to kind of take a breather. Sorry, just counting through these. That's a shame, we'll have to miss that one per fruit. Anyway, as I was saying, it allows us to break the gameplay up a little bit and we can kind of take a breather and relax a bit. Now, this is the other new mechanic in these boulder levels. They don't affect the boulders, but they do affect us. What do they do, you ask? Send us running forward. So we get a little bit of a speed boost if we're running from the boulders, which is quite handy. It's also good, so you can see there, I've hit a mine, I've hit another one. Whoops. So you can see how much that slowed me down there, because I had to recover a little bit from hitting those mines. The good thing about those little booster pads is... so I'll just do it again there to demonstrate. So it allows us to put a little bit of distance between us and the boulder. Almost. Not quite. This isn't as easy with the D-pad. Okay. Try to actually avoid the mines this time. Also got to try and avoid the pits as well. That would generally help. Oh. Avoid the mines, it says. Falls onto a mine. Too much about not hitting that speed booster pad. Nope. Okay. Try again. See, as I say, this is the great thing, guys. If it had been Crash 1 mechanics, you'd have been getting a cut to me coming back to this point. I can carry on now. And you can see mistakes and all without me having to worry too much about whether I'm going to miss out on the gem or not. It's great, and it's going to be a lot easier for me to edit as well. Come on. Fact. Oh, come on! I'm moving a little bit too far back when I'm trying to hit the boxes, and it's causing me to hit the fence. Oh! Whoops. Helps if I don't slide into those things. There's me trying to put a bit more distance so I can kind of calmly get to that point again. Come back a little bit, so... Right. Oh, come on, I hit jump then! Ugh. I'm determined to do this. Not like that though. Oh, that's going to cost me. I want to do that over anyway. That was terrible. Right, come on! Not like that! Come on, I can do this, come on! Come on! Chance another one. Ooh, that was close. So you can see, this is what I mean by the... see, it's miles behind now, so I can just calmly do this. Look, take my time. There we go. And that's why the skid spin is incredibly handy if you pull it off well enough. It can give you that much distance and that much speed that, as you can see, I clearly left that boulder in the dust. Okay. Last cutscene before the boss.
Listen up. We are not without enemies. Some of them you may even recognize. Although they cannot harm you inside this warp room, they can attack you on your way to the next one. To get to the next warp room, use the platform that appears in the center of the room. Good luck.
What does he mean by that? He means this platform here. And ladies and gentlemen, we're about to see an old friend. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, and all genders in between. That, my friends, is Ripperoo. So if you remember the best ending from the last game, I said that some of the details were in fact canon, and one of those details was Ripperoo getting an education. However, he's still not the brightest tool in the shed. As evidenced by the fact that he keeps getting himself blown up. But that's fine, because that then works to our advantage. So if I stay, whoa, in that corner. And I'm going to stay over here now. Yep. One more time. Okay, where's he gonna go? I'm gonna move that way a little bit. There we go. This way just a tidge. And he's done. And that was our first boss, easy as pie. So aside from one boss in this game, you'll find that all bosses are 3 hits only. Which is good because there's a max of 3 hit points for Crash as well. So it makes things nice and even for us. As I say, there's one exception, but you'll find that out later.
I see that Ripperoo failed to prove much of a challenge yet again. But back to business. There are crystals to be gathered, 20 to be exact. The planets will align shortly, all 13 of them, and this will create a power great enough to rip the Earth apart. Properly utilized, however, the crystals can absorb and contain the energy.
Crash, is that you? I've been looking everywhere. I don't have much time to tell you this. You have to be careful. Trusting Cortex seems a little unwise. Crash, I can't keep the data path open much longer. Crash, you need to
Okay, we've got Brio, and now we've got Coco warning us that Cortex isn't all that he seems. But on that note, I'm going to leave you on this save screen, because it's time to wrap up, and we've been going for quite a long time. So that's the end of episode 1 of Crash Bandicoot 2. I've been Supersonic SJM, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!